welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my April reading journal pages, and I'm going to use Traci Reed's Aflutter collection this month because she didn't release the collection in April. I chose the Aflutter because I really like it, and then when I went to print out some more of the embellishments I found that it was from April last year, so I've cut it out too small to start with. I have got a nice label there that I can use for the month. Actually, I've printed that out in several different sizes to find the one I like. As you can see, I've printed out two 5x8 pieces of paper here, and I've already started laying out how I want to do it. This side is going to have my books on, which I've printed out using my Canon Selfie, and I use the layout called Bookmark, which gives me books which are right size to go on here. And then in addition to that, well, you can see here I've got embellishments I've printed out, a couple of cards, and I had a load of embellishments left over from previously using it, and some papers, so I've got all of these out on my desk ready to use if I need them. And then as usual I've got my stamp set, so I've got the page turner stamp set from, let's turn that over so you can see, page turner from Syncopation Designs. I have got the Ellis Studio, a good book stamp one, and then I've got two which I bought off Amazon, which don't stamp brilliantly, but they'll do. Okay, so I will now stick you on fast forward and do a voiceover to tell you what I thought of these books that I read in April. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here is just create my little blocks for how many types of book I've read. So how many paperbacks, audiobooks and ebooks I've read. And I'm using the same stamp every month, and that's one of the Ellis Studio ones. And I'm also using that to stamp my book of the month and the stars, which I'm then colouring in. And then I'm mounting those onto one of the pattern papers. Actually, I chose two of the pattern papers just to give a little bit of contrast to that lovely wood grain. I do love that wood grain paper that I've chosen. And then just shuffling them around, and also choosing those papers for putting on my photo of me reading in my gazebo. We actually had a warm day and I was able to read outside, which was absolutely wonderful. So the next thing I'm going to do, sorry, I got distracted. I had a message come through on my phone. It's very rude of me whilst I'm doing my voiceover. So cutting down my photo, and I just stuck that straight onto the orange piece of paper, and then chose one of the word pieces which says Sunny Days, which I thought was fairly apt. And then the final thing to do, or actually almost final thing to do on here, apart from putting the month on, is to do a little embellishment cluster to make the 4 things in that part there. Now I have on previous pages done a banner, fishtail banner along the top with the month on, either stamped the month or printed out the month. And so I did the same with this one. I was going to use that solid pink, but then I decided to go for this button paper in the blue, which is the same as I've used for mounting some of those white paper blocks, and just popped the April on top of that, and then decorated around that with some more of the element pieces from the kit. I love the butterflies in this collection. Surprise, surprise, it's a flutter. So there are quite a lot of them. So I wanted to include a couple of those, and also the florals, which I also love. I'm tending to use my glue on these elements as they're fairly small. And if I try and use my ATG gun, it tends to just rip them. So now over to the books. I read, I think it was 8 books I've got here this month, and the first one I read was Nothing Ventured, Jeffrey Archer. Didn't particularly enjoy that one. I felt that I ought to read a Jeffrey Archer. He's, for those of you who aren't UK people, he was a politician over here, now an author, and he's written a lot of books, and I found it very trite. It was just not my sort of book. So I read it quite quickly, got it over and done with, and I can say I've now read one of those, so that was quite good. I then read One Dark Window, which I absolutely loved. It's part of a duology, and I'm now actually listening to the second part because I can't get the books over here. But it's a fantasy book, and it's just wonderful.
Really enjoyed that one. And then I went on to Death Under a Little Sky. That was one that had been recommended to me. I'm just having a look on Goodreads to see. Have I not put that one down? Oh, yes, there we go. With this one, I found the writing a bit pretentious at the beginning, but once I got into the story, I was able to put that one to one side and enjoyed a really good crime novel. Ellie Griffiths, The Last Word. I normally like Ellie Griffiths' books. Wasn't as taken with this one, but I read it. Gone in Seconds was one of the worst books I've read this year. It was a free Kindle book, and I've never want to read anything by that author ever again. Sue Moorcroft, The Italian Island Summer. Love a bit of romance and being in a sunny place, so really enjoyed that one. And then I Am the Messenger, Marcus Zuzak. That was absolutely brilliant. My daughter had that book and she lent it to me. I really enjoyed that. And lastly, I listened to Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, which was a sequel to the other Emily Wilde book that I'd listened to. That was a really good listen and a good sequel to the first book, and I can highly recommend that one. So now I'm filling in which was my book of the month, which was the Marcus Zuzak one. I really enjoyed that, absolutely brilliant, and can highly recommend that one. As you can see on the right hand side of the page there, I did some embellishing. I used the stamps from a few of my collections there just to add a little bit of black to match with the black handwriting I've done on the left hand side. I like the little banner I put in, the flag banner, and the hearts. So here's a closer look at the left hand side page, and really like how that, and here we are with the right hand side, and I'm just going to show you that was one of the Amazon stamps, and they really don't stamp very well. That Reading Is My Happy Place is one of the Syncopation design stamps, and it stamps beautifully. Her stamps really do stamp nicely. So here I am putting it into the album which I have made, and just a quick flick through, so you can see again January and February, and then I need to do another page there just as an interlude page. There's March's, and here we go with April's pages. I do need to stick the April one to the back of the March one, which I'm just going to show you now. So that's my April reading journal done. Thank you for joining me whilst I created this today. If you've enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. If you are not a subscriber, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye.